Hey y'all, thanks for tuning in today. If you haven't already, go ahead and check out last week's video. The link will be up in a card above, where we compared Ring versus SimpliSafe security systems. Well, we ended up going with SimpliSafe, if you couldn't tell already. And so today we're going to show you how easy it was to install. Alright, let's get started with the box here first. So inside the box is going to be an instruction manual, which you may or may not need, so we'll set that aside for now. You'll have a packing list. And then as well, I had these spacers. I got them separately. We'll use these for the doorbell camera. We'll talk about them more later. On top of everything else, then you have the sign if you really want to put it out. I don't, but it's included just in case you do. Then after you get through all of the packing paper to keep it safe, you have all of the different items, including a few random screws there. So we're going to start with the base station actually. This base station comes in a few different colors. We got ours in white. And on the top you have the power adapter. This is what you're going to plug into the wall and then into the bottom of the base station. Then you need to invert the box, get the base station out, and remove the plastic. All you do is you plug in one end into the base station, you'll plug the other end into the wall, and then you remove the small pull tab to get going.
Welcome to SimpliSafe.
Next, the next thing you want to plug in is the keypad. Pretty simple, take it out of the package, remove it out of the plastic. You're going to want to mount it, which is the mounting plate is here with a little couple of tack strips and screws if you want it. Then you can remove the screen protector off the front and pull the pull tab from the bottom to turn it on and activate it. After it goes through its startup sequence, it will connect to the base station, and then it should be ready to pair and install all the devices afterwards. I will not show you my pin, but you will set up your pin here as well. Now that it's in setup mode, we're going to take that over to our window and put in our first entry sensor. They're the same for windows and doors, so we're going to use it here on one of my master bedroom windows. Once you take it out of the box, there's going to be two pieces. You got the entry sensors themselves, as well as some screws if you need it. They are hard to get out of the package, just be aware, but once you do get them out, there's going to be a big piece and a small piece. Doesn't matter which place or where you place them. The one thing to note is there's those two lines that are right there. One is just an indent and one's a light, and those need to be facing each other. They do have sticky pads on the bottom, as well as a pull tab to activate it. So we're going to take the small piece and actually pull the sticky tape pad off and stick it to the movable portion of the window. And then the big piece, we're going to pull the pull tab to activate it and start the battery working. Take the paper off of the sticky pad and put it onto the window sill itself. And after we stick it down there, we'll notice the light blinks blue. And then we're going to press the test button on the side, and that'll connect it to the keypad. Once the keypad detects that, you can go ahead and name it whatever you want. In this case, I think I named it Master Bed 1. Alright, let's move on to the next most important piece here, at least I think, is the doorbell. So you're going to want to start by taking off your old doorbell mounting screws. And then after you do that, you can remove the two wires from the back of the doorbell. You can turn the breaker off if you'd like, or it's just low voltage, so you can just be very careful with it after you pull it off. So I got this mounting bracket here because the wall that the doorbell camera will sit on is just at an awkward angle. So this will turn it so it can face and use that full 162-degree angle to get the most input as possible. Then I'm going to drill out the holes for my anchor screws. Then I'm going to open up the box for the doorbell camera. There's a couple pieces in here. You got the actual camera itself on top. And then below it, you're going to have the mounting plate, which actually goes onto the wall, or in this case, my little tilted device. And then in the bottom packet here, there's going to be two important pieces. There's going to be a screwdriver we'll use later, as well as some screws to mount the mounting plate onto the actual wall, as well as another little spacer if you have vinyl sidings. That way it faces up and down straight. So we're going to go ahead and get a couple of these screws here so we can mount the base plate onto our angled bracket. And after an angled bracket is secured to the wall with those anchors, we're going to go ahead and get all of our wires for our doorbell secured to there. There's just two screws, you have to loosen them, and then you can tuck in those wires into those screws before you tighten them down. And then all you do is you put 2 screws, one on the top and one on the bottom that came in that package to secure that base plate to either the wall or in this case that mounting bracket. Next we're going to get that small screwdriver out, and then also in our screw package from earlier there's going to be a tiny set screw. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the doorbell and slide it onto that mounting bracket and push it all the way down. Then you're going to take that set screw with the screwdriver and screw it into the bottom, and that secures it so it stays in place. And that's pretty much it. Just follow the instructions on your phone. Alright, next we are going to move on to motion sensors. So this is pretty simple, comes in a package. It's got 4 sticky pads on the back as well as a pull tab. Pretty simple to put up. All you have to do is hit the button on the top, the test button. The base station and keypad will recognize it, and then you can go on to name it just like before. In this case, I think I called it living room. And then you can set it up. I just put it up temporarily on a shelf before our walls were painted. Now on to the smoke detectors. These are really easy to put up. They come with a set of screws and anchors if you need them, and then the actual smoke detector itself. So go ahead and take that out of the plastic packaging. It's got 2 pieces to this. It's got the bottom base plate as well as the detector itself. That'll become helpful when you're putting it up. So I'm going to take my pencil and the base plate up to the ceiling, and I'm going to mark where those screws will go. This will just make it easy to set the screws in, get them mostly screwed down, and I can put the mounting plate up onto the screws and then tighten everything down. It just seems to be working a lot easier when you're working above your head. So now I'm going to tighten everything down real tight. It's nice and good. Then I'm going to pull the pull tab on the smoke detector and get it up on the ceiling and rotate it to set it in place. Then I'm going to press the test button to connect it to the base station. Then just name it like you would any other device after it recognizes it.
Smoke detector. Named.
Alright, so next thing is going to be the smart lock. These are great features, and instead of replacing the whole lock, they actually just replace the back plate. So here on that device you got the back plate as well as the pull tab. We'll get that later. You also have the keypad, which will go on the front of the door, as well as some extra features in there that'll help get it installed. So with this thing, you want to slide those 2 plates outwards, and that'll release the mounting bracket, and we'll hold that separate for now. So first of all, you're going to open your door. You're going to turn the deadlock halfway just to be able to access those screws on the back plate. And then we're going to pull those screws off using our drill, and we're going to save those screws. We will need them for later, but you can discard the back of that deadbolt. Then that mounting bracket that we pulled off of the lock before, you can kind of set it in place, and you're going to take those 2 screws that you just pulled out and re-put them in place. You want to make sure that that mounting bracket is directly 90 degrees up and down, otherwise the lock is going to look like it's tilted. So after you get those secured in place, make sure to not do it too tight. You're going to look at these colored items here. Those fit around the little bolt inside of your lock, so you want to make sure to get the one that fits around the little bolt in there just right. Then you'll notice the piece in there fits the lock right there, yep. And then you're going to slide it on. It'll take some finagling to get it on just right, but once it seats down against the door, you're going to slide those 2 things in to secure it in place. You're going to pull the pull tab to activate it, then pull the 2 pull tabs on the keypad. You're going to press the button on the top of the door lock, and that will activate it with the base station and keypad, and just like before, you can name it at that point.
Smart lock. Named.
After you name it, you're going to be required to do a calibration. So you close the door, you lock it, you set it to calibrate, it opens the door, and then checks to make sure it's open and unlocked and ready to go. Then you're going to undo the sticky pads from the keypad and place it carefully on the front of the door. It is pretty simple. Use the same code that you do to unarm this system. All you do is you press lock and it locks the door. When you're ready to unlock it, you type in your code, and I'll not show you, but it unlocks the door. It's actually very quiet and works really well. Well, that's it, guys. Pretty simple. Took about 2 to 3 hours in tops to get everything put together and put up. It was really easy. I really like the system. It just looks good, and I think it's going to perform very well for us for a long time in the future. My only gripe about the whole thing was that the sticky tape on the back of the sensors, like the entry sensors and the motion sensors, was pretty weak, and so it started falling off. A couple of them fell off within the first couple days, and we had to put a little extra glue on them just to get them to stick to the walls and stay up there without falling off. My number one fear is that the entry sensor would fall off at night when the security system was set, the alarm would go off, and it'd just be this whole big debacle. So that's my only gripe about it. Otherwise, I really like it. So thanks a lot, y'all. Have a good one. Thank you guys for watching. We appreciate it. If you haven't already, please consider clicking on the subscribe link below. Also, we have the video that YouTube recommends for you down here to your left, as well as our most recent video to your right.